Have you ever noticed that you can figure out a lot about someone just by listening to them talk, the way they speak, what they say when they speak? The yap makes the man. But what if they talk like this? You can figure out that they're a little... Now I'm guessing you love anime. You clicked on this video most likely because you're an avid anime watcher, an anime enjoyer even. Well, I'm pleased to inform you that I love anime as well. Well, parts of it anyway. There are certain parts that I don't like and certain parts that I despise with all my being. And given how positive my life has been lately, we're obviously gonna focus on the negative parts today because you need to balance positivity with negativity. Buddha. Dialogue in anime is like kala long in biryani. It ruins the whole fucking thing for no reason. If you don't get that reference, by the way, you need to diversify your palette. What are you, a Brit? Now today, I don't want to focus so much on the dialogue itself. We all know why it's shit and that it's shit. The shrill noises, I want instead to focus on why the dialogue is shit. I mean, it's not because they have exclusively shit dialogue writers. Not only does that make no sense, but go watch a few Japanese movies and you'll see that the dialogue over there is pretty fire. So why anime then? It's just that most mangakas just don't know how to write dialogue because they've never had a singular human interaction in their lives. Again, not true, because that's also true about the movie writers, and you can say the same thing about just about every fantasy writer there is. None of them have touched grass either, but their dialogue is just fine. Have you read Lord of the Rings? Sounds like real people talking. I promise. So if it's not a lack of talent and it's not the antisocial personality disorder, then what is it? Well, I believe it comes down to a few practicalities and a few social norms. We're gonna talk about them today because I have nothing better to do, so let's start with... So imagine this, right? You're creating your life's best work. You're spending hours upon hours every day in your room, burning the midnight oil, as they say. What's this? The people reading your life's magnum opus, your primary audience, is dirty, sweaty, slimy, acne-ridden, in their rebellious phase. No, I'm just kidding. It's not Balkaners, it's teenagers. And teenagers, speaking from experience, are adrenaline and hormone-riddled creatures, most of whom don't really care much for detail. All they give a fuck about is hype characters who are surface level and have hype as fuck moments. It's why Jujutsu Kaisen was the greatest thing on the planet for a while. So while you are creating your magnum opus, you realize that you also need this magnum opus to generate revenue. So you simplify and you conform until you make sure that even a brain-dead baby could look at this and understand what's going on. And because we also live in a world where publishers own the creative's souls, and from what I understand, all popular manga have to go through publishers, and the publishers really only give a fuck about the fat red line at the bottom of the page of the earnings report, you're gonna get told you're a bad boy, get sent to your corner and rewrite the dialogue if you don't conform. Now keep in mind that this is all just speculation on my part. It could just be that the mangaka are just doing this all on their own, a secret blood pact going back generations, promising all dialogue to be bone level cringe inducing, but something tells me that the publishers have something to do with this. Now let's talk about... There's also a reason why most anime has similar dialogue, and I think that's just trying to conform to what anime dialogue is usually already like, which just leads to it being a circle jerk of bad dialogue, copying bad dialogue to look like bad dialogue. As for how it originated, it's anyone's guess, from a general culture of over-politeness and the concept of not just bothering other people but staying out of their way as much as you can, for which they have two different words, by the way, maiwaku and mendokusai, and the concept of harmony known as wa, which encourages homogeny and community rather than individuality. All of those may have been factors in the origination of the robot-like waiting for the other person to finish speaking then pause type dialogue. Also imagine they just did what worked. Referring to my previous point about anime, especially shonen anime being mainly for teenagers, despite the emphasis on community, Japan is, after all, a capitalist society. They would not be doing any of this if it didn't sell well. Besides, like I already mentioned, they're a conformist society which has its ups and downs. Do I think that the awful dialogue is a result purely of the new mangakas just trying to conform to what has been popular? No, but I do think it plays a major part. Now, let's get into my next point, which is we should have stopped at the third isekai, but we didn't, and now it's multiplying like cancer. There was one genre that embodies everything wrong with modern anime, it's isekai. Boring, copied, repetitive slop with pulled and pasted art styles that's mass-produced and mass-shipped like any other product. All that so the companies can pad up that already fat red line. But you might say, while all of that is true and composed of indisputable facts, what does isekai have anything to do with anime dialogue? Everything. Let me ask you something. If isekai really is so bad, Why do companies keep pushing that slop out? Why do dozens of these pieces of shit roll out of the conveyor belt every 2 months? Well, it's because isekai is a very popular genre, one of the most popular in fact, and the reason why is very simple: escapism. Now, before anyone says some retarded shit like, well, art is escapism anyway, no, it's obviously not the same. There's art you consume that affects your life in a positive way, and there's quote-unquote art you consume to forget about your life. The second one can have you stuck in some very dark spirals, and you should always be wary of it. In fact, you should avoid it. And there really is no other escapism like isekai. Let me give you the gist. A complete fucking loser in this world goes and gets himself either killed by the default truck method, which seems to be a fan favorite, or just some other magical bullshit. The truck method, by the way, is when a truck comes and hits you at full speed and you just die. Just thought I'd explain that. You probably already knew, but explained it for the people that didn't. Anyway, in this new life, our protagonist is now a very special boy because he just got lucky. He probably has special powers now. He has a chance to make a difference and he gets all the bitches. And please stop. Stop doing this to yourself. There's no other world. There's only this one. Cruel, unrelenting, and callous. It doesn't give a fuck about you or the cards you've been dealt. You are responsible for your own life. You are responsible for your own well-being. Stop and step out of the escapist bullshit and get your shit together. Now that the rant's over, I can finally tell you how it has anything to do with dialogue in anime. You know the loud, annoying, painful characters and personalities that are so frequent in anime, the high-pitched and the shrill noises? I think I know why they're there. Now I'm gonna sound like I have a tin foil hat on here, but I think the Japanese writers and the authors might be compensating for the lack of noise in real life. It's like I said, well, concepts like Meiwaku and Va definitely play their role in improving society as a whole. I mean, Japan has one of the lowest crime rates in the world, especially for violent crime. People trust each other. Kids can go across towns on their own. People can leave their apartment keys next to their apartment. Try that shit in the land of the free and you'll get your shit not only stolen but stripped for parts and listed on the dark web by the time you're back from your football game. That is, if your entire apartment isn't just gone by the time you come back with a fucking RPG, because America is the land of the free and the home of the brave. Anything can happen. So while Japan achieves all of these wonderful things in a major way thanks to the society focused so much on community and homogeneity, it can also on some level, sometimes in an overt manner, sometimes in a subtle manner, suppress individuality. People can feel this oppressive air of everyone else judging their every little action. Every little misstep is scrutinized to no end. Rules are so extensive that they make expressing yourself near impossible. It can be a stifling experience. And so they write and create worlds where them and their characters are free, where the worlds are expansive and the rules are their own and the characters can be as loud as they fucking please. It would also explain why Japan creates so many great creative minds. Their desire to be free is one of the most powerful sources of creativity they have. Or I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking this. But some of the anime dialogue problems, like the weird pause between each character's lines, like they're waiting for each other to finish their sentences, like it's a fucking video game, that's also reflected in Japanese movies, so it speaks to being a part of their culture. Not always, but enough in my opinion. My experience with Japanese cinema isn't extensive, and not nearly extensive enough to have the correct opinion here for overall Japanese cinema, so if you do have that experience, feel free to correct me in the comments. Anyway, that was the video. I will see you guys very soon. Goodbye. Hey, just a quick note. The reason I might have sounded very sick in this video is because I am indeed pretty sick. I have a bacterial infection, but I decided to record anyway. So there's that. Other than that, I hope you guys are doing well. All right, goodbye now, for real.